Today I'm having some soup. Um, this kind of soup is like a lamb soup. Uh, Yangtao. So yang means lamb or sheep, goat, anything like that. Um, and tang means soup. So this is called Yangtao. There are two main kinds of Yangtao. There's Yang Rotang and Yang Zatong. Ro means meat. So yang rotang is like a broth made from like a bone broth made from lamb bones and like slices of lamb meat. Yang za tang, za means other stuff. Like generally, if you say za, it just means like all of the different kinds of something. But in this instance, it means all of the like other bits, like heart and liver and uh, intestines and stuff like that. So yang zatang is soup with. It doesn't have like normal meat slices. It has cut up bits of all kinds of other stuff from the lamb. Mainly, that tends to be slices of heart meat, um, uh, intestines, like tripe, right? Like so, tripe, kind of. So, like, just this is like intestinal, just cut up intestines. Um, Sometimes like cut up. This is liver. Um, I think it's liver. Yeah, that's liver. Um, so it's just chopped up bits of other parts of the lamb. Um, so like the usually you can get this kind of soup either with the meat or with the za, all the other stuff. Um, Actually, what I got today is called uh, chuan yang tang. So that chuan means all. So this has both the meat and the other stuff. It's got a little bit of everything in it. Um, this is a common soup that's used in. It's not a medicinal soup, but it's in Chinese medicine. There's two kinds of medicine. There's like treating something kind of medicine, and there's preventative medicine. That's just like immune boosting kind of stuff, and that's called Yangshuo. Um, and this this specific like lamb soup is considered very good as a preventative medicine kind of thing. It's considered an immune booster, and I've been having a couple. Pretty, I've been drinking pretty heavily for the past couple days, and I feel like my immune system could use a little boosting. So I thought I'd go ahead and have a bit of this soup. So I said it had the stuff. So like here, this is just a piece of meat. That's just like a slice of lamb meat. Um, then we've also got slices of liver. I think there's liver. Oh no, that's heart. Um, yeah. Slices of heart meat. There were some slices of liver in here that I found earlier. And then some like tripe. This is like tripe, lamb tripe. There may be some other bits of lamb stuff. Those are the main ones that I'm aware of that they usually put in. It's possible it's got a few other little things in that I'm not remembering. And then it's kind of like a thick bone broth, very hearty, and like I mean that's the healthy part of it. Right? That's what's considered to be like the immune boosting thing is the bone broth. And then In the soup, they also typically have these like crystal noodles, clear crystal noodles, that are made from sweet potato starch. So these are called hong shu fur. So typically, sweet potato is called digua, um, and that's like the sweet potato you eat. But there's I'm not sure if it's a different kind of sweet potato or if it's just another name for the same one. I think it's just another name for the same one. Sometimes you can also call it hong shu. Shu is a word that means potato. It This is where talking about potatoes can be a little confusing in Chinese because there's a bunch of different words that are called all kind of overlap, but you use them in different contexts. Like you wouldn't call a potato shu, but when you use potato in something, you can refer to potato as shu. So like French fries are shu tiao or potato strips, but like you wouldn't call the potato itself shu. So like this word is only used to refer to potatoes when they're an ingredient in something. And so these, and then hong means red. Uh-oh, I lost a beard hair. Oops. Hong means red. So hong shu just means red potato or sweet potato. And then fur, I think I've talked about this in a previous video, is another word that means noodle. It also means flour, but in this context, it means noodle. So these are like potato starch noodles. And then, actually, I'm not sure this restaurant's version has this, but usually this also has shredded cabbage in it. I don't think this restaurant has put shredded cabbage in theirs. So it just has the noodles and the meats and all the different kind of meat stuff and the broth. And then it's got some like scallion, like little greenery kind of stuff, scallion and garlic and stuff like that in it. So I was expecting it to have the shredded cabbage as well, but this one doesn't seem to have shredded cabbage. Usually, this dish has a shredded cabbage in it as well. And then a common thing to get with this kind of soup is these kind of flatbreads. Flatbread, so anything bread flat like this is called bing. There's all kinds of different bing. This one is specifically called a Cowbng. Cow means cooked. It's a hard word to translate. In different contexts, it means different kinds of cooking. It could mean barbecued, it could mean grilled, it could mean cooked on a griddle, but it can also mean baked. And I think in this case it means baked. So it's just a baked flatbread. These can vary in like taste, texture, depending on the restaurant and the specific region that they're from. There's a wide variety of this kind of Cowbng. But it's just like a little bread thing to go along. It's got some sesame seeds cooked on the top. And it's this one is very layered. So this one was obviously like a laminated dough. So I would have done some kind of dough lamination and then like a lot of these ones, the way they're cooked is, I don't know specifically about this one. I'm not familiar with this restaurant, but a common way to cook these kind of things is they have these ovens that have a heat source underneath, and the opening of the oven is at the top, and the walls of the oven are angled like this. And they get the raw dough into like the flatbread shape, and they reach in and stick it to the sides of the oven. And it sticks to the sides, and then they reach in again and peel it off once that's cooked, and then stick the other side. And that's how it gets this really like, crispy outside texture. It's because it's cooked against the wall of the oven. I would guess that this one was made that way. Some are made other ways. Based on this crispy outside texture, I would assume this one is made that way. There are also ones that are just baked in an oven, or they have ones that are cooked on a griddle, kind of flat plate. There's a wide variety of these kind of things. There's also other kinds of flatbreads that have a different name, but this one has the name Cowbng, and there's a whole bunch of different ones that all are called Cowbng. They can be made in a variety of different ways. When it's Cowbng, it's typically a laminated dough, so you get this kind of layering action. That's quite common, and it's usually crispy on the outside and kind of tender and moist on the inside. It's pretty standard for that kind of flatbread. There's two kinds of soups. There's this Yangtao, and then so Yangshuo and Zatong are with lamb broth, and it'll usually be just a restaurant that specializes in just doing this, right? So like this restaurant, all the options are just like what extra stuff you want put in the soup, but like it's just all of the options on the menu are just this soup. There'll also be other restaurants that do a very similar thing, but with beef. So those will be called new rotang. So new means beef. So new rotang is beef soup. And the soup, the way they make the soup is almost identical. It's just which meat they use. But it'll be usually two separate restaurants. Very few restaurants do both. Occasionally you'll find a restaurant that does both, but they usually specialize in one or the other. But the ingredient, like the noodles, the crystal noodles, and putting shredded cabbage in, and the types of meats and ingredients used are all like almost exactly the same. Just one is beef and one is lamb. And both places that do this kind of soup will have a bread similar to this, typically. You can just eat the bread plain. Some people dip the bread in the soup, just like people in the West when you have bread with soup. That's a fairly common thing. This is actually, I mean, the flavors are a little different, but it's very similar to just like in the West, you just get a bowl of soup with a hunk of bread. That's basically what this is. It's cheap, it's easy to make, it's delicious, and it's reasonably healthy. I'm not sure about the beef soup, or even with the meat, but the Yangtao, the one that has all the little bits and stuff, like the bits of heart and bits of liver and stuff like that. In Chinese medicine, that's considered very, very good thing. If you're worried that you might be getting a cold or something, you eat this, and it is supposed to prevent you from getting sick and stuff like that. I don't know that I fully buy into that, but it's definitely when you're feeling a little rough, it's definitely this is a good hangover cure soup, kind of thing. I mean, generally, it's got a lot of water and salt. It helps you rehydrate, and get back on you and get feeling better. I'm not sure I have any more to say. This is a little shorter than my other episodes, but it's a pretty simple dish. Just some lamb soup. Lamb's pretty unusual in America, so you don't really get this stuff. And then eating all the little offal bits. I think offal's the right word. The extra bits. That's a really, the Chinese word there is really a really good word. That just, there's a whole bunch of different situations where you can use it, and it just means like it's like shotgun spatter, like, or like scatter shot kind of thing. It just means, yeah, we're talking about something, just all of it, right? All of the stuff. So Yangtao just means all the lamb bits. And generally, when you say it, it means not the meat, but all the other stuff besides the meat. So, but I still like the meat too, so I get it with both when possible. Well, I would say my favorites, well, I didn't say the names of all this stuff. My favorite parts are, I prefer just general meat, but I like all the other stuff in the soup too, because it like kind of goes well with the soup. It adds flavor to the soup. So just the regular lamb is called Yangshuo piar. Piar just means a thin slice of something. And then you have, like this is liver. Yeah. Which is called, I think called gar. Yangar. So this will be Yangar piar. Or Yangan. Yep. I'm not sure if you're supposed to put the R on it or not. It can be confusing knowing when to add an R. The R is not actually in the written out. Like the actual characters tend to end in an N or something, and then just when you say it, you're supposed to add an R, but you're not always supposed to add an R. It's a little confusing, and if you're not familiar with a word, it can be a little confusing. The other things, we've got some heart meat. So this is like heart is xin, so Yangxin. I'm not actually sure what this is. This might be like a blood sausage kind of thing. Or it might be kidney. I'm not sure what this bit is. But it's kind of has a texture kind of like a blood sausage. So I think it might be that. And then the last bit is tripe, which can be called chong. Chong means intestines. So this is like, I guess that's not tripe. This is actually little ringlets of the intestines. There's also some tripe in here. Yeah. Like this. There, I have forgotten the word for tripe, so I'm not immediately remembering that right now. So I won't be able to give you that one. But I think that's enough for this video, so I will talk to you guys on the next one.